Hit that thing.
Whoa, remix. Hey,
Hey.
that was a good intro. Hey, it's me, Nicolai.
And me, Brian. Hello.
It's the Brothers Game Podcast. I did that out of order.
It's
Welcome to the Brothers Game Podcast. Roll that intro, Nick. Okay. What's up? That was it. That was the intro. Wow, this is a good episode already.
I'm about half asleep, but I'll try to make it through.
Listen, I said, hey, you're not too tired, right? And that was a short 32 minutes ago.
Yeah.
It's not my fault you get tired in 32 minutes. Okay, listen.
It's that I was already tired, but not too tired, but I was on the border, and then I started to fall over the edge.
Then you'll be needing one of these. Guys,
So-
remember YouTube poops?
Yeah, right?
Anyway,
Okay, so
dinner.
in our last episode, forever ago, an eternity
When
ago,
was our last episode?
about a month ago,
Okay. That's fine.
you had mentioned modding your 3DS.
Yes. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Best decision ever.
And so that led me down a rabbit
You're
hole.
like, oh, I'm intrigued.
And I went deep.
You're like, free games? That's intriguing.
Well, so I've been emulating for many years now.
Right.
And
But I personally don't like playing emulators, basically, like at all. Like, you've done it way more than me, and it's because it's not, to me, it doesn't feel right unless it's on original hardware, which is where modding comes in.
so for me, it depends on the game.
Okay.
So NES, SNES, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance emulate perfectly on
they emulate
PC
very well, yeah.
and work just fine with a keyboard because there's no analog
simple
sticks on
layouts,
any of those consoles.
Right. That's true.
Once you introduce the analog stick, that changes everything for me.
Yeah.
That's when I start wanting to use a controller, and when I start leaning towards playing on real hardware.
Yeah. Because at that point, a lot of the games take into account the controller that the hardware had.
Right.
You know, so even if you use like an Xbox controller, which is fairly universal, but not quite, it still
Yeah.
can feel wrong a little bit. So
So first of all, when it comes to emulating on my PC, I have an upper limit of how recent of a console I'm willing to even try. And so anything before N64 and PlayStation is generally pretty easy to emulate. Again, NES, SNES, Game Boy. N64 can emulate okay.
really
Project
hit and miss.
64 is pretty good, and some games emulate very well. And yeah, PlayStation 1 seems to emulate pretty well. I haven't really had any
it's pretty
issues with
solid.
PlayStation 1 emulation. And the fact that that quite a few games don't have, like, the DualShock controller didn't exist for most of the PlayStation 1's life.
Yeah.
I believe. So
Correct.
most games didn't use it.
Right.
Use analog sticks. They used the
They're
D-pad
still
and
pretty
stuff.
D-pad
So they
set.
still work
Yeah.
just fine with either keyboard, mouse, or
Whatever controller.
or whatever controller
Yeah.
you want. Yeah.
Yes. Very true, I think.
I've tried a few PS2 games and they emulate okay.
I've never
good
tried
enough.
to emulate PS2 before. So.
Like I tried Kingdom Hearts and it emulates well. So
Cool.
I haven't played it extensively, but
Yeah.
from what little I have played, emulated just fine. Also, GameCube is okay. Dolphin.
Yeah, Dolphin
that's
works
pretty
pretty
good.
well. Yeah, that works great on the PC you helped me you build.
So the newest I would go with emulation is the PS2, GameCube, Xbox era. Now Xbox apparently, I haven't heard
Xbox
good
is
things about
weird
Xbox
to emulate,
emulation, which
yeah.
is kind of weird because I think it's closer to a PC than any of the other consoles.
Yeah, you would think
So I
it'd
don't
be
really know
easy,
why
yeah.
it was that hard, but whatever. So I'm good with anything up to PlayStation and 64
Those especially, yeah.
And then like I guess like Sega Saturn and earlier.
Yeah, if you want
So
to play Dreamcast.
I did try Dreamcast, and
Yeah.
I didn't have great results with it.
I know nothing about Dreamcast emulation, so.
So I emulated. So I picked the only 3 Dreamcast games I care about, which are
Right.
Sonic
Sonic
Adventure,
Adventure.
Sonic Adventure 2, and Phantasy Star Online,
Yeah.
which are all by Sonic Team. Interestingly enough,
And also on the GameCube.
yeah, and also all on the GameCube. And I would, after playing those 3 emulated on a Dreamcast emulator, I can comfortably say I would much rather play the GameCube versions than emulate on a Dreamcast
Yeah.
emulator.
Like, we can't say about on actual Dreamcast hardware. I've never tried that, but yeah. But good luck getting a disc of Sonic Adventure or 2.
I have found something interesting is if I'm using an Xbox 360 controller, which is what I generally use on my PC because it's plug and play,
Right, easy.
USB. I am so used to using both of the sticks on it that when I try to emulate a console that only has one, it really messes with me.
Yeah.
So I actually want to
You
find
want to move the camera so
a
bad.
single stick USB controller.
Yeah.
And I might,
funny.
what I might do. So one of the things I looked into was USB N64 controllers,
Yeah.
and they generally seem to be pretty garbage.
Awful. Yeah.
So
They're not made well,
instead,
typically.
there is a person who makes an adapter for a real
actual,
N64 controller, which I have 4 of.
Yeah.
So I might just get
That might
that
be the way to
instead
go, yeah.
and just use that as my single stick emulator.
Yeah, I mean, that's great because it's got a great D-pad too if you want to use that. So,
And then so as far as console modding,
yes.
so
Which I've only dabbled in like handheld modding,
Yeah.
which is quite different than
So-
home console modding.
honestly, before you had talked about that, it hadn't really crossed my mind to even try this.
Yeah.
Now, I remember back in the original Xbox days, people modding their Xboxes and
Yeah, I
stuff, and I
remember
didn't
that
really
too.
understand fully why, like
Yeah.
what the benefits were. But for me, the big benefit is games on a hard drive or SD card, as the case may be, and
No switching out discs. It's all just right
yeah,
there.
no switching out discs, and
You
then
can have
also
every game
super
ever.
easy to try games that I don't own.
Yes. It's like renting games almost.
Yeah, kinda.
You can try. I mean, you have them.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So, then I looked at each of the consoles that I would want to attempt that on, and what the steps would be, and what hardware I would need to purchase in order to make those things happen.
Some are much easier than others.
Yeah. So I do not own a PlayStation 1, and I don't intend to buy one.
Yeah.
And it's one of the consoles that I think emulation on PC is good enough that I'm not going to bother trying to emulate PS1 because from what I hear, trying to emulate PS1 on a PS2
Modded PS2.
is
yeah.
hit and miss.
Oh, interesting. I would
So-
think that'd be really easy.
Yeah, I would have thought so too, but
Actually-
it can get weird when you try to emulate.
If you really want to emulate PS1, PSP is the way to go.
Yeah.
It has it can play PlayStation games natively. So,
But yeah,
and they work beautifully.
I have
so far,
DuckStation on my computer, and it's been pretty good. Like I haven't come across any issues with it so far in any of the games I've tried on it. So
It's nice though because I have like Final Fantasy 5 through 9 on my PSP. You know,
Yeah.
like I don't know, that's pretty sweet to me.
now for N64, I still own a working N64, and I
course.
own
Basically,
just
all the
about every
games,
game
yeah.
I could ever want on it.
Yeah.
So I'm not even all that interested in emulating N64.
Yeah.
It would only be like I've never played GoldenEye. Or rather, I've never played it for longer than like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I think I played it with Logan one time.
Honestly, going back to it is pretty atrocious, and I
Yeah.
wouldn't even bother. But yeah,
Right. But I understand. Yeah, it's probably one of those things that if you weren't there at the time, then it probably doesn't hold up. But
it's not Banjo-Kazooie, which would hold up, to this day.
that's just like I just watched the 1989 Batman with
Michael
with Michael Keaton,
yeah, Jack
and-
Nicholson.
Yeah. And honestly, it didn't really hold up for me.
Superhero movies are very different now.
It was kind of
so-
sad though, because like I could tell I couldn't really appreciate it for what it was because
Yeah.
of what I've seen. And this is the problem when I come across somebody who hasn't watched the Star Wars original trilogy and they're like an adult already. It's like,
Yeah,
oh,
it's a little too
there's
late.
no way you can properly appreciate this.
It is kind of unfortunate. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, so yeah. So that's the thing with the N64. I could get an EverDrive. And thankfully, you don't have to modify the N64 at all. You can you just plug in an EverDrive
cartridge.
cart
Yeah.
and then plug in your SD card to the EverDrive, and you're good.
Yeah.
It's a little expensive, so probably not worth it to me. So next would be
Especially because a copy of GoldenEye isn't that expensive. So
Yeah.
If you really wanted
Yeah.
that.
so the next would be PS2. So
That's
if
a
you
big
want to plug in a hard drive to it, the easiest way is to get the network adapter kit
The
for
actual
the PS2.
adapter. Yeah.
Yeah, which has both a network jack, so you can plug it into the
Internet.
plug it in to
Yeah.
play online, and then also an IDE hard drive connector. Now, they still make they don't really make IDE hard drives anymore. They're still out there. They're a little overpriced for what they are, but they're not totally unreasonable. But they're all old.
Yeah. So you
So
do fear hardware failure
yeah.
and stuff.
But
yeah.
there's an adapter to go from IDE to SATA that is not that expensive, and I have spare SATA hard drives just
Yeah.
sitting around, so
That might be the better
That's
option.
probably what I would do.
Yeah.
And then as far as once you have that, all you have to do to mod the PS2 is you don't have to really mod it at all. You just put onto its memory card the homebrew stuff. I forget what it's called for PS2,
Yeah.
but it's like
Some sort of homebrew software.
free McBoot or something like
Yeah.
that, and you're good to go.
Yeah. Cool.
So
And then you can play, 1,000 plus PS2 games.
yeah, and
Because there's a
so-
lot of them.
right, and then also if you want to just play the PS2 like it comes, you just unplug that and just have it boot into the normal PS2 BIOS, and
That's cool.
it's all good. So I'm a big fan of mods that don't permanently do anything.
Yeah. It's nice when you have the option to, maybe, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
So with GameCube, you can replace the CD reader. You can just remove it, and
that's
then
right,
you
yeah.
there's a thing you plug into the bottom of the GameCube that has an SD card reader. And thankfully, if you really wanted to, you could put the CD reader back. It's just screws holding it in, so it's no soldering or anything. They also make this thing that goes where the CD reader used to be. That is a nice, big, thick SD card holder, because otherwise you're kind of like reaching down in and pushing it into the
Yeah.
bottom of the GameCube. So that's kind of cool.
A little neater. Yeah.
Yeah, just
For sure.
has a much nicer aesthetic.
Yeah.
When it comes to Xbox and Xbox 360, you pretty much have to do soldering
Really?
in order to mod
Wow.
it.
Jeez.
So I am looking at potentially buying a modded
buying a
Xbox
pre-modded
360.
one, yeah.
They're not crazy expensive. I found a couple for around $200.
Yeah.
It's funny. I think I own more Xbox 360 games than any other console right now.
Yeah.
Anyway, so there are a few like
There's still plenty of games, that you're interested in.
yeah. So that's, and then I do want to get a 2DS XL.
Yeah. That's
A new 2DS XL.
New 2DS XL.
And use that as
that's a good one to mod.
to do all DS and 3DS games,
Yeah.
which is 99% Pokemon. But
Yes, of course. But you can do GBA natively on there too, if you
Yeah.
want. If you want to.
I mean, I'll still probably just do GBA on my PC
Sure.
or on my Retroid Pocket.
Yeah. But on if you do it on 3DS, there's programs or apps you can get on there that that act as like a Pokemon bank,
Oh yeah,
basically, but for Gen 3, 4, and 5, which is kind of insanely cool. and I think you can transfer between the gens through that too.
Nice.
So there is very specific special things you can do with that.
Cool.
But yeah.
So yeah, so that's been my journey with what I've
That's a
discovered
desire,
down the rabbit
possibly,
hole.
yes.
Now, something I did during all this, because
Okay.
one of the things I wanted to do was find games I was even remotely interested in playing for each thing. Because like, if I have the
Just
ability to
trying.
just download whatever ROM I want and load it on whatever console I want, well, then I should just try every game I've ever heard of that I'm at all interested
Exactly,
in. So
yeah.
like, I've never played a Fire Emblem game.
Right.
So I looked to find which Fire Emblem game I wanted to start with, and I think it was
There's a lot of them, but yeah.
I think it was like a 3DS remake of the first game, potentially.
Okay.
I actually don't remember exactly, but I think
Yeah.
that might have been it.
People like Awakening a lot. That's one of the
Yeah.
3DS ones.
This one was like
3
something dragon
Echoes.
something. Anyway, I've never played a Metal Gear Solid game, so
Yeah.
I wanted to play
Metal Gear.
Metal Gear Solid game.
Especially, maybe like Twin Snakes, the
yeah.
GameCube remake. Yeah.
Probably. And then Metroid Prime. I played
Yeah.
when we first rented it that one time. I played it a little,
Love
but
Metroid Prime.
I'll need to follow a guide because I remember not having any clue where to go or what to do.
Yeah. It's definitely a Metroidvania where you have to really explore and you find things you have to come back to like in a couple hours when you have this one thing or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Also, the Xeno Gears and
Xeno
Xeno
Saga
Saga,
and stuff?
Xenoblade
Yeah.
Chronicles. Yeah, I think Xeno Gears is the first game,
Yeah,
and then it's Xeno
PlayStation.
Saga, and then Xenoblade Chronicles.
Yeah,
after
I got that on my PSP. I do want to try that.
Yeah. Heard good things about that series.
Xenogear.
Yeah.
Just like Metal Gear.
Yeah. I talked about it on the podcast several episodes ago, but I played Tales of Symphonia for the first
Right.
time too. So that was my first Tales of game. I'm kind of curious to try one more just to see how different they are from one game to the next.
Yeah, Zestiria or something.
Yeah. Berseria was very well liked. Vesperia was well liked. I watched an anime of Zestiria.
Yeah.
Tales of
That's right.
Zestiria the Cross. It was okay.
Yeah. That's okay.
It was good enough to finish.
I have also 3DS has what most people think is the number one Dragon Quest game.
Oh, yes, that's another one. Dragon
Yeah.
Quest and Chrono Trigger. I want to play Chrono Trigger.
for sure. Yeah, I think it's Dragon Quest 8, I believe, is on the 3DS, and it's very, very good apparently.
Yeah. Also, so I watched some videos on like all the different versions of Chrono Trigger, all the different versions of Final Fantasy 1, all the different versions of some of these other games that have been remade, remastered several times. And when I watch these, I'm like, okay, I either want to play the original without any mods, remake, remaster, anything, or probably want to play the newest remaster.
Most modern possible.
One of the two.
Yeah.
So like,
I think the most modern Chrono Trigger is probably isn't there like a mobile phone version?
well, yeah, I'm not counting mobile phone versions, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard the PlayStation one is really bad.
Yeah. There's been
Chrono
like
Trigger,
3D
so-
pixel remasters and stuff of some of these games. So the original Final Fantasy 1 actually had changes made even in just like the US release of it because of copyright and stuff like that, because there's references to like D&D monsters and stuff that they had to change because
funny.
of Wizards of the Coast. So so I actually want to play the Japanese release, the original Japanese release for the NES, but with English translations. I have one called FF Restored, and it's just got a bunch of bug fixes. So I want to try it that way.
Nice.
Now, it's part of playing the original is like part of the charm. It almost is the bugs sometimes. So
Right. Yeah. So it's like,
and like
do
a
I
lot of
actually want
guides
them
are gonna
fixed?
are gonna mention don't do this because it's bugged, but
Yeah.
that won't apply in this, so that'll be interesting.
Yeah.
Now I have heard that it was meant to be played with a guide. They even included a guide with the game, with every copy of the game, is what I'm
Interesting.
told. So I will be doing that. I will
Sure.
be using an included guide.
A lot of RPGs are improved with a guide. So
Yeah, I mean, every Final Fantasy game I've ever played, I've used a guide.
I would never
so,
play Persona without a guide. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. And while I was doing all this, I keep a lot of spreadsheets, as you well know. I like to have all the stuff in my
Information,
head
data. Yeah.
in a place where I can get to it all and like have it all organized in a certain way.
Yeah.
And instead of having to look up on different websites, all this information is like, no, I want one place that has all the info and has it organized the way I want it and stuff like that. So I have tried to the best of my ability, keep track of every video game I've ever played. Just like I've done with TV shows and movies too. Just because I'm interested, that kind of stuff fascinates me anyway. So I have here a list of every video game I can ever remember having played, and it's pretty complete. I think I don't think I'm missing much. And it indicates, so it's got the name of the game, the console, the console that I played it on.
Okay.
That's an important distinction.
What you played it on specifically. Yeah.
Whether I own it. Now, right now, it actually has a column that says whether I've played it because there's a handful of ones I want to try that I haven't played, and I have the ROM downloaded. So
I have
that's
it,
the
but I
only
haven't
reason I
played
have
it.
a no in any of those.
Yeah.
Whether or not the game is what I would call beatable. Is it something you can complete, or is it something like Kirby Air Ride where it's just you just
yeah.
play on it, or like Mario Party?
Yeah. Animal Crossing.
Like, how do you beat Mario Party? Do you really
Yeah.
beat it? Not
No,
really.
yeah.
So there are no's in that list.
Yeah.
And then, if it's beatable, have I completed it?
Yeah.
And
Or do you
also,
plan to?
have I 100%ed it?
Yes.
There are not very many yeses in that column.
You're not really.
But
not typically a thing you do.
the thing is it's not for lack of trying. It's
Yeah.
just really hard in most games.
Yes. It's true.
So I'm not going to just sit here and name the whole list. That would take too long. But I am
Yeah,
going
that's probably not a
to
good idea. But
look into some insights
okay.
from it.
Yes.
So let's see. I think so. The list with the with the fewest games would be the Sega Master System, because the only game I've played on it was Phantasy Star.
Oh, interesting.
I played it for a few minutes just to see how it compared to PSO.
Yeah. The very first. Nice.
I went into this one. So the only things I recognized were Masetta is Still the Money. And I went into a dungeon and I heard a music track and I'm like, there's a remix of this in PSO.
Nice.
So that was cool.
That's cool.
Let's see. Are there any other one-offs? Any other consoles where I only have a single game?
I don't know if I've ever seen a Master System.
And that the thing is, I emulated it anyway. I didn't
okay.
actually. Yeah. Also Xbox Series X/S. There's only one game, and that's Halo Infinite. So those are the only one-offs. And then there's a couple here that couple of consoles I've only played 3 games on. So I'll list them. Dreamcast, which all emulation. I didn't actually play on a physical console.
Gotcha.
NES, which I've played Mario Bros, Super Mario Bros, and the original Final Fantasy. Again, for not for very long.
Yeah.
And the other was actually the Wii. Despite us owning a Wii for all those years,
I certainly played it much more than you did. So.
Mario Kart Wii, Red Steel, and Super Smash Bros. Brawl.
Nice.
I am pretty sure those are the only games I played on our Wii ever. I could be wrong.
and one of them is awful.
Yeah.
Red Steel's terrible game.
Yeah. Cool concept,
Yep,
but yeah.
horribly executed. Yes.
Yeah. And then now, which one have I played the most games?
So
And
messed
I
up because Mario
believe-
Galaxy is one of the best games ever made. So that's so sad.
I believe it
So
was
sad.
Xbox 360
Yeah, that makes sense.
because
Just counting all the Guitar Heroes separately.
yeah, exactly. Now there's a few games I own currently that I haven't played yet.
Yeah,
Several
sure.
Assassin's Creed titles and the BioShock games.
BioShock. Yeah.
But yeah, I've played 7 different Guitar Hero games.
Right.
And then 6 different Halo games.
Mm-hmm.
So that alone makes up a big chunk
Quite a
of it.
bit. Yes.
And then PS2, I think, is the second most,
Okay.
which makes sense because PS2 has
Just such a huge
game library.
Yeah. I mean, we never owned that many games, but
no. That's the
but
thing. We
still.
never owned that many, but we rented a lot.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah,
That was the height of renting stuff.
I downloaded. So I played .hack Mutation, which is
Okay.
the second of the 4,
Okay.
because that day I couldn't find Infection.
Yeah.
So I just grabbed Mutation. I had recently been watching .hack Sign,
Right,
the
the
anime,
anime, yeah.
and so I
Cool
was
anime.
like, "Oh, cool, a .hack game."
Yeah.
Never really got it.
Yeah.
Never really figured it out.
That world is weird. So,
But so .hack Infection and Mutation are both fairly cheap, still used.
that's nice. 1 and 2.
But Quarantine number 4
Yeah.
is like a $400 game.
Yeah.
So I have a ROM of it
Dang.
because I will never pay $400 for that game.
Yeah. Emulation, especially for things like that. Like, that's insane.
But yeah, and then let's see. I think the other biggest lists are N64 and GameCube.
Of course. Yeah.
Probably pretty obvious.
Big eras for us. So,
And GameCube is another console that I rented a lot of games for.
yeah. Yeah. For me, it was DS was a huge one
Yeah.
because I was able to rent games for that too. And I just liked my DS a lot. So,
Let's see. Yeah, I only played 5 DS games, and
Yeah.
they were all Pokemon games.
yeah. Which have been emulated, obviously. But
Yeah.
it's funny, back in the day, that was when we weren't playing Pokemon, was
Right.
when I was playing my DS a lot. So I think of that as a modern DS thing for me
Yeah.
because I never played them back then.
Yeah.
Back then it was, Cooking Mama and like
Drawn to Life.
Drawn to Life. I liked that. Yeah. Kirby's Canvas Curse.
Spectrobes.
Spectrobes, correct. Which is like a Pokemon knockoff sort of
Yeah.
with like mining and stuff added. Actually not a bad game.
Yeah.
Yeah, but stuff like that, Mario Kart DS, stuff
Yeah.
like that. So
I've played
to me,
4.
that's so nostalgic. Oh,
3DS
Nintendogs
games.
too. Sorry.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Nintendogs.
I've played
course.
4 3DS games, and they also were all Pokemon.
Yeah.
So DS and 3DS are purely Pokemon machines for me.
To me, like, the libraries on DS and 3DS are just amazing.
That's pretty much
love
true of
those consoles.
all handheld
Yeah.
game systems.
It's Pokemon.
For me, they
Yeah.
have all been Pokemon machines. The only
sure.
ones I've played that aren't Pokemon are I could list them because it's not that many.
Right.
Is Kirby's Pinball Land.
Okay.
I played that on the
Not
original Game Boy.
Not terrible. One of the
Mega
better
Man, Dr. Wily's Revenge.
That's right. Weird Mega Man game.
I could not. So I tried. There were 4 levels, and I tried each one, and I failed
horribly
so
hard.
miserably. Like
Yeah.
I didn't get like I died like
nothing.
30 seconds into each
and
level.
Mega Man is a relentless platformer. So, yeah.
Yoshi's Cookie.
Oh, yeah. That's a great puzzle game.
Final Fantasy 1 and 2, Dawn of Souls.
Dawn of Souls. That's right. Yep. Very different than.
I wound up walking around trying to figure out where to go. Couldn't figure out where to go and put it down.
Yep. That's bad. That's
And I don't
usually-
even own it anymore.
That's
because
how a lot
of that.
of old RPGs worked.
It's funny too. I could have looked up
so
I was
funny.
using game FAQs by then, or
Yeah.
at least a few years later. I
You
could have.
just didn't really care, I guess. Yeah.
Pitfall, the Mayan Adventure.
No. Nice.
Did not like that game at all.
No, that's not a good game.
And Super Mario World 2 Yoshi's Island for Game Boy Advance.
Yes. Great port. That is
Yeah,
such a good port.
That was a good port.
Same with the Super Mario World one. They're both fantastic.
Yeah. Oh, also Super Mario Bros. Deluxe.
Deluxe, yes. Which I still have.
And
Love that.
Legend of Zelda Oracle of Seasons.
Yes. Seasons
Which,
and Ages are great.
Very similar story to Final Fantasy 1. I wandered around trying to figure out where to go, couldn't find where to go, and gave up.
Yep. Nice. Yeah, I don't love 2D Zelda, but those are not bad
Yeah.
for 2D Zeldas. Surely you played Tetris at some point too on Game Boy.
Yeah, not on. I don't think I did on Game Boy though.
Okay.
We had Tetris
like
and
the
Dr. Mario
Tetris one
for
for me.
Super Nintendo.
And 64, wasn't it? No, that's
No,
Dr.
SNES.
Mario. That's Dr. Mario 64.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
we
probably-
also had Dr. Mario.
it was
64.
probably SNES,
But
yeah.
yeah, there was a combo game, Tetris and Dr. Mario for SNES.
That sounds
and
right.
That's where I first played Tetris.
Yeah.
And every time I've played Tetris since, it's been on like a non-game console.
Yeah, something weird. Yeah.
something. It's been something.
They
else
just have
entirely.
they just announced a new on Switch, a new Tetris game.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a Tetris compilation.
Oh yeah.
And it's got Tetrises from the beginning to like, early 2000s. Like tons of different ports of it, like different versions of it. Like just almost every Tetris you can think of in one pack, which is kind of cool.
I remember Hatris.
Yeah, with the hats.
Oh well, there's that too.
Oh,
but
Hatris?
there's Hatris, and then there's also a Hatris.
Oh, yeah.
So Hatris is it gives you the worst possible piece every time.
Oh yeah, that's
it's
right.
like designed to give you the worst possible
That's
piece
right.
every time.
Yes, that's brilliant.
Yeah. Okay.
And there was Tetris Attack, which isn't Tetris at all.
Yeah. So the only other insights I think I have got here are which games I've 100%ed, because that's also not a very long list.
Okay.
And that is Pokemon Red and Blue. In both cases, I got the full Pokedex, so that's 100% as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, I would say that's 100%ing Pokemon.
Let's see, what's this one? Oh, Pokemon Moon. I also 100% of that. I got
nice.
every Pokemon. It's one of the.
It's a smaller Pokemon.
There's really only like 4 Pokemon games that I've actually 100%ed.
Yeah,
So.
I've 100%ed all of them.
Oh, I
So,
did not have
there
the
you go.
patience to do it in all of them, but
Well, I'm like a living Dex guy, so
yeah.
I love that crap.
Let's see. Kirby 64, the Crystal Shards,
Yes,
and
all them crystal shards.
Mario Kart 64, which is like my crowning achievement in gaming, because I don't think I've ever had a harder 100%.
Yeah, you worked for it. Yeah.
Yeah. Banshee Boardwalk.
And it's so cool because you get the alternate like title screen.
Yeah.
When you 100%
Banshee
it,
Boardwalk on 150cc. Kill me.
Yeah. Yeah, that last cup is a killer.
Though I will say I'm not sure it's as hard as trying to platinum FF7 Rebirth.
Oh yeah.
That
was pretty
just
rough.
Absolutely brutal. They don't call them the brutal challenges for nothing.
Yeah.
Pokemon Snap and Pokemon Stadium.
Oh, nice.
Pokemon Snap isn't very hard to 100%. You just
No,
get a picture of everything you
Yeah.
can get a picture of. And because you can beat it, you can finish the game in like 2 hours
Yeah,
or
it's
something.
short. It's a very
It's,
short game.
yeah.
So Stadium though, that takes commitment. So.
Yeah. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater.
Yes. You really did get you got
Even
all
though,
the tapes.
even
all
though
the good
I don't
stuff.
have a save file that has every tape,
Yeah.
I have one that has all but one, and then I have another save file that has that one. So
Close enough.
technically,
Close
it counts.
enough. But some of those tapes are hard to get, man. That's hardcore.
The one on the Arizona on top of the
Yeah,
thing,
that's the
that's-
tape.
yeah.
Yeah.
that's harder than anything else in the whole game. Even getting gold medals on all of the point-based ones.
Yeah.
Way of the Samurai.
Oh, that's right.
Which
I forgot about that game.
I would define that's
game.
one of those games that I rented like 5 times, and I even owned it briefly and
Yeah, that's
then
a cool
got rid
game.
of. I consider 100%ing it just unlocking every ending. It's not a very long game, so the thing is that
Sure.
there's several endings. So I think there's 6 endings, and I unlocked all of them. So as far as I'm concerned, that's 100%ing. Pokemon Legends Arceus and Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Sword.
Legends Arceus. Did you? I mean, you completed each Pokedex, but did you perfect each Pokedex?
Of course not.
That I would say that's 100%.
I am going to say
I would say
no.
you just completed it.
I'm going to
Maybe.
say no.
I'm just saying.
I'm going to say I 100%.
Is there a little sparkle in every little thing? I don't think so.
I 100%ed it, and I
Okay.
don't care
Okay.
what you think.
Hey, listen. Let us know in the comments if you think Brian 100% did Pokemon Legends
100%ed
Arceus.
it.
I want to hear it.
100%.
Let's
Okay.
have
that's it.
the fans weigh in. Okay.
That's all of them.
Speaking of 100%ing,
Mm-hmm.
I 100%ed the Persona Compendium in Persona 4 Golden.
Cool.
100%. I fused every single Persona,
Cool.
and that was harder and more expensive than I thought it would be. Okay, some of those, man, like Mahakala, the death one, so expensive to fuse that persona. And there's like 3 or 4 personas that are like weird to fuse. They can only be fused with 2 or 3 specific personas. So like most of the time it's like if you get one from the Fool Arcana and a Chariot, it'll become this one thing, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter exactly which persona it is usually. But there's some like Alice, for instance. Like Alice, little girl Alice. Alice in Wonderland. She can only be fused by these 2 specific personas. That if you don't have these 2 specific, which have nothing to do with each other, so the guide has to tell you. Anyway, so that was cool.
There is one
It felt
game.
very good to do that. So
There is one game that I like 99.9% completed,
that's the worst. Yeah.
and that's Paper Mario, because I got every star piece except
for one. You just like couldn't
I
find
just
it.
didn't know where it was.
Like as if it was glitched or something. Because
Yeah.
like you,
I did everything else,
and like you can go to what's her face, and she'll give you a hint on where
and she
a star
couldn't
piece
find
is.
any
Yeah,
because I had found all the ones in the overworld.
yeah. I wonder if there's like a missable one, like
Yeah, maybe.
story wise or something.
Also, Rip Cheeto, I think if you
Yeah,
give him
yeah.
64 coins
Right.
over and over, he'll sometimes give you star pieces,
Right.
and I figured
But
that has.
I think
but I
there's
think
only-
he gives you 3 at a time.
I think it's only like 2 or 3 times he gives you star pieces.
yeah.
I think there's a very limited amount of star pieces he gives you.
Oh wait, no,
So-
it's not 3 at a time. That's Koopa Koot, I think.
Is that
it
right?
Gives you 3
Yeah,
at a time.
that sounds right.
Yeah, when you do enough favors for him.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Anyway,
Yeah, I really wonder what star piece that was.
yeah.
I got 100% that again. It's been a
It'll
long
it'll
time.
haunt me for the rest
been a
of
long
my
time
days,
since I
probably,
actually
because I don't know that I'll
100%
have the
that.
patience to do every other thing
Yeah. But it's such a good
again.
game. It's such a
Oh,
good
I love the game. Like, it would be an easier thing to go back and try to do than
really-
to try and do Rebirth.
That makes me think I really need to get the Thousand Year Door remake. I
Yeah.
still haven't played. I don't have it. I still haven't played it. But games are $60. Yeah, that would be awesome. And Persona 3 Reload. I want to play that so bad.
Yeah.
I'm playing Persona 3 Portable right now, the PSP version, and I could just feel its age,
Yeah.
And it's not bad, and it's still a good game, and like you get the story still,
Yeah.
but like it plays like a visual novel, and like in that is there's very few like 3D models and moving things.
Yeah.
It's like portraits and text boxes mostly, and I don't know, it's just not as good. I love in Persona 4, like, walking around and doing stuff
Yeah.
a little more. I did complete Persona 4 along with the compendium, true ending, and it took 85 hours total
Yeah.
by the end. 85, which is not bad actually for doing true ending and completing the compendium. But that was helped along very much so by the fact that I was playing on easy mode
Yeah.
and could do the dungeons in one go usually.
Yeah.
And at the end, me and my team were all level 99.
Uh-huh.
And I stuck with Chie, Yukiko, Yosuke the whole game. And yeah, we were all max level and just last boss. Even the last boss was just so easy. I was so insanely broken because by then I had personas like Lucifer and like these level 99 personas and stuff.
Yeah.
So, but it was very fun.
I wish in Rebirth that being max level made you overpowered for some of the side stuff, but it doesn't.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like way more than enough to handle the final fight, but yeah.
The story stuff. The one thing I'm sad about actually is that I didn't fight the Reaper. I don't know if you remember that, but sometimes in a dungeon you would like hear these chains rattling randomly.
Oh yeah.
And if you open a chest while that was happening, sometimes the Grim Reaper would come out instead of a treasure.
Oh, and that's in 4?
4 also.
Oh,
it's
okay.
also it's in 3 also.
Yeah.
But it works differently in 4. And yeah, he's a very hard boss.
Yeah.
That you can fight super early in the game. You could fight it in Yukiko's castle at level like 20, and he's level like 85 or something.
Yeah. I remember I read a whole
And yeah, I never beat him. So
wiki entry on FF7 on Final Fantasy super bosses.
Yeah,
And like
Emerald Ruby weapon and stuff.
So they weren't in the first handful of games.
Yeah.
But they I forget which was the first game to introduce one, but
the optional bosses. Yeah. I like it because it's like they're always so scary and mysterious.
Yeah. Well, and like I think they started with some optional bosses that weren't necessarily any harder than the main boss, but then the idea of a super boss, which is optional and also way harder than any other boss in the game, that was a little bit later in the series.
And sometimes it's Sephiroth, and that's cool.
Like in Kingdom Hearts.
Kingdom Hearts. I watched this video compilation of people who had clearly know Final Fantasy VII and had never played Kingdom Hearts before, and apparently didn't know that Sephiroth was in it.
Oh yeah.
And them just going in Kingdom Hearts 1 to the Olympus Cup, because it doesn't say Sephiroth.
Right.
It just says like super hard cup or whatever. And just like a black void opens up and he descends down and the music starts. And it's just people's reactions and flipping out. Like, freaking Sephiroth. Yeah, I love that.
That would have been really cool to experience that.
Yeah, being shocked like that. Yeah.
Yeah, because I knew right from the get-go that Final Fantasy characters were in the Kingdom Hearts games. So.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Hold on. So, the Fire Emblem game I wanted to try was Shadow Dragon, which is a remake of the very first Fire Emblem game for DS.
Heard of that. Oh, it's for the original DS?
Yep.
Okay.
Also, The World Ends With You. I wanted to try that.
The World Ends With You. Yeah, I have the Switch like remaster version of that. But yeah. Yeah, I still haven't played that.
Also, Bravely Default. I want to try it.
Yes, I need to play that too.
I did decide
by
to, instead of trying to play the originals, to play Ocarina of Time and Majora's Mask on the 3DS.
Yeah. Highly recommended.
Most of the time I do want to play the original game, but when I read online that the overwhelming opinion is, this is just the original but better in every way, I was like, oh, okay, I'll just play that.
Ocarina of Time 3D is so good.
Yeah.
So well done.
I was also interested in trying Twilight Princess and Wind Waker.
Yeah.
On GameCube.
Yeah, I mean the Wii U HD remakes are so good.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are really hard to get because you need a Wii U.
Yeah.
And you're not me, so.
Uh-huh.
But Wind Waker HD, the biggest thing is the swinging. So there's a bunch of parts where you're either swinging from lights, like ropes, or using the grappling hook to swing from stuff. And in the HD version, you just use the control stick to swing around in whatever direction you want. It's super easy. In the original, it's not like that. You swing backwards and forwards, and that's what you can do. if you want to turn, you have to hold B to slowly stop, slowly inch your way and turn, and then slowly start to swing again.
Wow.
That's what you have to do every time. And it's not as convenient.
Yeah.
Thankfully, that's not the whole game. So,
Yeah.
but yeah. Yes, I will sing Wind Waker's praises all day long.
Yeah.
One of my favorite games. So, but yeah.
Yes. And our friend Ben also loves that
Yeah.
game. So
Yep. But we like games you don't like also. So
that's true.
who knows, right? Yeah. Should I talk about Comic-Con
Yeah.
in our last 15 minutes? So today's Friday. I was at Comic-Con here in Portland, Rose City Comic-Con. Today, actually.
Yep.
Just earlier today, I was at Comic-Con, courtesy of our co-host here, Brian.
Yeah.
Was very
So-
kind to pay for that for me.
So how this came about was I saw on Facebook that this year at Comic-Con was going to be Steve Burns from Blue's Clues.
Steve was going to be there.
And I thought right then and there, Nicolai must go and see Steve.
Yes. Yes,
And
I must.
so I made sure that it happened.
Yes, and I appreciate it very much. So I've always said for years now, over a decade probably, that I only need to meet 2 famous people in my life, basically. Alton Brown from Food Network and Good Eats, one of the best shows ever made, and Steve Burns, who is Steve from Blue's Clues. And I have met Alton Brown twice now at book signings and stuff, and he's very, very cool. And so this is it.
Yeah.
Now I've done it. I'm good. I never have to meet
Now-
another famous person again.
Now you can die happy.
Now I
Wait.
can die happy. That's why I'm dying here right now on the podcast.
Sorry, Theo.
Yeah. Sorry. Unalive. That's better.
Oh, yeah.
Now we won't get demonetized. Because normally this is highly monetized.
Right.
Okay, so
No, the fortune.
if you don't know, Blue's Clues was a show. I'm just
Yes.
kidding. You obviously know what Blue's Clues is. A lot of kids loved Blue's Clues. Blue's Clues meant a lot to me,
Yep.
and it still does. It's just obviously it was my number one kid show as a kid. I had shirts and had multiple birthday parties that were Blue's Clues as a kid. You were my older brother watching me. I was obsessed.
It's funny. I don't know why. I must have really actually enjoyed it. I wouldn't have admitted to enjoying it. But because
But you're 7 years older than me and still
Yeah.
watching it because it's that good of a show.
yeah. Now this is one of those things. When I was growing up, a lot of times the TV was pretty much on all the time in our house.
Yeah. We
It
just
was
had
basically never not on.
background noise at least.
Someone was watching something.
Yeah.
Or had something on as background noise.
Sure.
So there's a lot of things that I watched without ever going, I want to turn on the TV and
Yeah.
watch this
you weren't
show.
choosing
or
to
movie or
necessarily.
whatever.
Yeah.
And so
Which is sort of unfortunate. You don't do that anymore because now you have to select what you're going to
Yeah,
watch.
yeah.
But anyway.
and so I wound up seeing almost every episode of Blue's Clues.
Yeah.
At the least almost every episode that had Steve in it.
Yeah.
And several that had Joe in it. And
Donovan, I met him. He's really
Yeah.
cool. Sorry. We'll get into it.
And I could have, instead of sitting in the room watching it with you, I could have been in my room playing video games.
Yeah, doing something else.
Or reading a book or whatever. And I chose, and nothing, I could have been doing anything else, and I decided to
watching
stay
Blue's
in the
Clues.
room. So clearly, I enjoyed it to some level.
Yeah. So
And
like
I'm
yeah.
not so insecure as to think, oh no, that's yeah, sure, I enjoyed
Yeah.
it, but I know at that age, if somebody had been like, oh, do you watch Blue's Clues? Oh no,
no
not
way.
me.
That's for babies.
That's for babies.
Yeah. So I never became that's for babies person.
Mm-hmm.
I was still watching it when I could at 15 or
Yeah.
something, and I would have gladly admitted it.
Yeah.
Blue's Clues is cool. I don't care what you say, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And so I lived through him going to college and Joe taking over, And I don't really remember being sad as a kid,
Yeah.
which is really interesting. And I liked Joe pretty much right
I think
away.
they did a
so
good job of
they did a
softening
good
the
job.
blow
Yeah.
on that.
It's funny. There's a lot of weird rumors and stuff of why Steve left and stuff. Basically, he was just balding and was kind of worried about that. He was like, I'm getting old. I don't want kids to be freaked out that I look so different. I want to sort of pursue this music career. Just a bunch of stuff. Totally made sense. Nothing malicious,
Yeah.
Anyway, Blues Clues meant a lot to me. Always has. Can't wait to share it with Theo now. Like,
Yeah.
it's just big part of my life. And for April too, my wife absolutely loved it. Also would watch it like as a teenager. Like,
Yeah.
totally loved it. So this really was a once in a lifetime dream come true thing. And so we went to Comic-Con. It was just me and Mom, which was kind of cool. And she actually brought along a picture of me at probably 4 years old.
Yeah.
With my whole Steve outfit on, which I had, like the khakis and the green striped shirt, for like this birthday party I had, because we wanted to show him that, just because. And Comic-Con was very different than I expected it to be, because we've been to smaller anime cons,
Yeah.
but I've never been to a Comic-Con before. And I highly recommend going on a weekday if you can, because apparently it's going to be much crazier tomorrow and Saturday, Sunday. But there weren't that many people. Like, it was full. The convention center was still fairly full, but like lines moved quickly. So there was a whole area for celebrity autograph signings and stuff, and they were basically in these different columns for each person, with tape set up for like lines to form, but they weren't that big,
No.
and they were all next to each other. So like you had Steve, obviously, but you also had Donovan, who played Joe, and Josh, the new guy on Blue's Clues and You, just one after another, and then you had right next to them, anime voice actors like Bryce Papenbrook was there, Aaron Yeager from Attack on Titan and stuff. And then on the other side of the wall, you have, Charlie Cox from Daredevil and like Simon Pegg and all these people, like huge celebrities and stuff. And a lot of them didn't come today because I think some of the bigger ones don't come on Friday and only come on the weekends, when there's just more people, I think.
Yeah.
Because their time is valuable, I'm sure. So like Hayden Christensen wasn't there,
Yeah.
wasn't just sitting there. But we got there basically as early as we could. And we were like seventh in line to see Steve. And there was only like 20, 25 people behind us. Like, it wasn't that big of a line, It was one of the bigger lines there. There was a lot of people there to see Steve, which was kind of cool. And before the autograph signing, they were doing photo ops with people who like pay extra. They pay like $100 to get like professional photos and stuff done with people. And so that went a little long. So I think they were like 45 minutes late for the autographs part, which was why we were waiting most of the time. Without that, we would have only been waiting like 15 minutes, which is kind of crazy. And it was really cool. He came out and just like, said hi to everybody. He was so cool. Super like chill guy also. Shorter than I expected. I am taller than him.
Yeah.
Just a little bit, which was kind of cool and weird, and like he sounds like him, and that was sort of the weirdest thing, was hearing him talk.
Yeah.
And yeah, once we got up there, I just, introduced myself, tried to say anything, and he was nice and funny, and, introduced Mom, talking about, Sappy. It meant a lot to us, showed him the picture, all that. We did pay for a selfie.
Yeah.
Because at Comic-Cons, it's standard, like autographs, pictures, all cost money.
Right.
Whereas smaller anime cons, none of that costs money, because I guess they're just not famous enough for it to cost money. But it was worth it because I need evidence, sort of,
Yeah.
So it's nice that I have a selfie with him. And it's a little bit of a blur, obviously. Like, and it went by a little fast, but like he also sat and talked with us for a second. He didn't like rush us off or anything.
Yeah.
And it's just so cool to say that I've done it now, you know? So yeah, that was really cool. And then after that, I'm like, what do I do now? Like, I mean, that's the reason we came, you know? And so next door is Josh and Donovan, who have like no line, basically. Like 2 people by them, maybe. And sometimes they just sit and chat with people because there's no one else in line, so you might as well keep talking. And it was really sweet. Josh, the new guy, was talking to this family who had a little girl who clearly is probably watching the new Blue's Clues. And he just sat and like talked with her for a long time because he had no line. Yeah. And so, yeah, that was really, really sweet. It was weird to see Joe too. Yeah. Like, because he looks like him still and he really sounds like him still. And I was just like, wow, this is so surreal to see these people. And yeah, Joe was super nice too. Mom kind of talked to him about like, you know, how hard it must have been to take over a little bit and stuff like that. And he was just like, yeah, it's good, you know, like it's all good. And it was cool. We talked about kids a little bit. He's married with 2 little kids. And obviously I have a 6-month-old boy. So we talked about that a little bit and yeah, so that was cool. Everyone was just insanely nice and like super chill. And just the fact there wasn't hundreds and hundreds of people everywhere, I think helped keep the anxiety down a little bit. Yeah. And helped be a little more chill, which was nice. And so after that, I'm like, well, I'm good, basically, right? Yeah. But actually last night, so like the night before, I was looking at the whole guest list and I saw that Kari Walgren was going to be there, who's a voice actress. And I was like, okay, I know this person. I think she's been in a bunch of stuff. And so I looked through her, like all her voice roles, and she voices Kagami in Lucky Star. And I'm like, that is so crazy. So like the past just couple weeks, I've been rewatching Lucky Star. Right. Like just out of nowhere. This is an anime from like 14 years ago. Like it's an old anime at this point. Like back in my original anime days, you know, as like a young teenager. And yeah, so I'm watching it again for the first time in, you know, over 10 years. And Kagami is one of the best characters in there. Super snarky and fun. And I was like, I gotta meet Kagami. That's so cool. And so I actually brought my my DVDs of Lucky Star to hopefully get her to sign it. And when we went over to her area, she had 0 line, literally nobody there. And so we were like, what's up? And we got to talk to her because nobody showed up behind us. Yeah. So we talked to her for a good while and she was insanely nice and was thrilled that even Mom knew some of her stuff. Yeah. Because she voices Celty in Durarara, the cool motorcycle headless horseman lady, as well as Saber in many of the Fate things. And so, you know, Mom knew her from stuff I didn't even basically know her for because I barely know Fate, you know. And she seemed really excited that I was there because of Lucky Star. Yeah. Because she said that's one of her favorite characters still. Yeah. And like, she said it's the one that's most like her in real life. She felt like. And while we were talking, she just randomly went into the Kagami voice. I was like, whoa, that's so cool. You sound just like her. Yeah. It's almost like you voiced her. Anyway, that's always fun when they just do it. Yeah. Because I would feel so awkward about asking them to do a voice. That just seems weird, you know? Yeah. But when they just do it, it's so fun. And I even was like, oh, right. Also, you're Tsuruya from Haruhi. And she's like, yeah. She was also very excited about that. Yeah. Because she's Kyon's little sister as well. And she said, that's a deep cut. Kyon's little sister. You're right. Good job. I was impressed with that one. Yeah, anyway, she was just so fun. I always thought it was Kari Walgren. Because it looks like that. But it's Kari, apparently. Because she said it. I would figure she knows her own name. So. Yeah. And so yeah, she signed the DVD, and that was really cool. So yeah, that was really fun. She does a million other really well-known voices too.
Yeah.
I just am a nerd for anime from decades ago, apparently.
Yep.
So yeah, that was the big meetings I had, and yeah, they all really couldn't have gone better. Basically, like having not a lot of people there, I think helped a lot. And every once in a while, we just walk around the exhibits. There's tons of like artists, exhibiting stuff, fun cosplays everywhere. We just like got coffee, took our time. Like it was just nice. That's how to do a con.
Yeah.
Just have a few things, make it chill.
And go on the least busy day.
Yeah, go on the least busy day. Don't get like, it was nice to not be in a cosplay. Just be in normal casual clothes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was really cool. And Mom actually got to meet a few people I didn't even meet because she knew them and I didn't. But like well-known actors like Dean Norris, and there was a bunch of Breaking Bad people there.
Yeah.
Which he's in that, but a million other things too. I didn't meet her, but the voice actress for Naruto was there. Like,
right.
Pretty big deal people. That was cool. And from a distance, we saw the actress who plays Bo-Katan from the Star Wars stuff. That was really cool. Because, she was so cool in Mandalorian. And I know she voices that character in the
Clone Wars,
the animated stuff. Yeah, Clone Wars. And, we learned from one of the, staff, volunteer staff, that she lives in the same city we do.
Yeah.
She lives here. I'm like, are you serious? Like, what? I always assume people live in LA. Like, that's where actors live, basically, right? But I was like, that's insanely cool. I really hope. So, like, we do farmers markets. I really hope she shows up. I gotta keep my eye out for her now.
Yeah.
Because that would be amazing. We'll give her a free cookie. So, yeah, overall, super pleasant. I have a picture with Steve. I got my Lucky Star signed. All these, I like a few tangible things like that, and so, yeah, that was fun. That was good stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's how you do a con.
And that's how you do a podcast.
Oh, snap. What? You've been listening to the Brothers Game podcast with me, Nick.
And Brian.
There you go. That's what I'm talking about.
Please download this podcast everywhere and anywhere and nowhere except
Whoa. But please
probably not nowhere, because
and you can
then
give
you
us
wouldn't be
ratings on
downloading.
things like Spotify and stuff like that. So that would be really appreciated as well. And if you're on YouTube, again,
What's up, YouTube?
hit us with a comment. Let us know if Brian 100%ed Legends Arceus. Just let us know. Who knows? Maybe he did. Maybe he didn't.
I totally did.
He did not, because he didn't perfect all the things. It's stupid. It's very difficult.
No one will ever do that.
No one should perfect that game, but that is 100%ing it.
Nope.
So give us a like and a subscribe. Go to @TheBrothersGPod on X/Twitter to keep up to date with all the things we're posting.
Yeah.
Like what? If you want to see Nicolai's cool posting, because Brian never posts to it, sometimes I just retweet my personal Twitter stuff as the Brothers Game, because I don't want to have to retweet stuff. Yeah. So, also you can follow me on at Nicolai_def.
You could follow me, but I don't really post. So
I'd be Xing it up.
Because X is kind of cancer. But
no. It's really cool and normal.
Yeah.
But you haven't been able to see all the cool Mikus that have been coming out. Oh. People have been doing different flavors of Miku.
Different flavors?
Yeah, because somebody made this art of Brazilian Miku.
Okay.
Who looked like she was from Brazil. And everyone went, okay, here we go. So then we had Finnish Miku and German Miku.
Nice.
And then people did like Midwestern Miku. And then people did and then it got weird.
Yeah.
And then it gets weird from there. But that was going on for weeks, right? And then it all culminated in like the perfect art somebody made. It's Miku dressed normally, normal Miku Hatsune. And she was being arrested by TSA and they were like dumping out one of her duffel bags, and it was just like 100 passports. And I'm like, that is incredible.
Yeah.
And it was like really well done art too. I'm like, there it is. We did it. We finished. No more, Riku. No more your weird.
That should happen more often with memes.
Yes, like progression like
Yeah.
that with an ending.
Yeah.
Incredible. Just awesome. Anyway, that was fun.
All right.
That's it. Let's
night,
end it.
everybody.
We're going to sleep.